everybody, it's Sunday, Facebook Live time. Today's topic is your relationship healthy? The statistics show that between 30 and 50% of marriages end in divorce, and it's said that only 30% of those remaining are actually happy marriages. But that's not necessarily the same as being a healthy marriage. I'm not talking about happy today, I'm talking about healthy relationships. Interestingly, some people are quite happy to stay in unhealthy relationships, and people who are quite dysfunctional often seek out other people who are dysfunctional and codependent, for instance, and they're quite happy with that kind of a relationship. So we're not talking about happy relationships as such, we're talking about healthy relationships today. So firstly, what is a healthy relationship? It's when two healthy, whole individuals who have individual and separate lives come together to share their lives. It's a connection based on some essential healthy qualities, which I'll read out. So the first one is trust. Nothing can be built without trust, as it's the foundation. Intimacy just won't happen. Vulnerability won't happen if there's no trust. Mutual respect, so each has to appreciate, value and like the other person for the qualities that they bring into that relationship. Fairness and equality, each person doing their share, a shared sense of responsibility, being on the same team and each person contributing equally to the work, the decision making and the responsibilities within the relationship. Honesty, an ability and a desire and a commitment to telling your own truth. And there should be no fear of consequences for doing that. A huge part of this is also, having separate identities. So, individual friends, individual hobbies, activities that support each individual for their individual growth, and a right to privacy. So in other words, it's an option to have privacy within the relationship. There should be no sort of control or emotional manipulation around following your own interests. You should, your partner should encourage you to have other relationships, whether that be with your family or with work colleagues or with friends, even of the same or opposite gender. Okay, so they want you to live your best life, and that includes being connected in with other people and having other interests. There can't be fear in a healthy relationship, so no threatening behaviours such as I'll leave if you do X, Y and Z, or I'll make sure you never see the children again, I'll kill myself if you leave me, or other threats, either implied or actually overtly stated. You need to feel secure and comfortable in a relationship, and you can't do that if there's any kind of fear. There has to be a sense of partnership, so on the same team, wanting the same goals, heading in the same direction, working towards a future together. So a shared sense of future together. Knowing that you've got each other's support and that, when times are tough, you've got each other's back. Communication is another thing that you would expect to see and need to see in a healthy relationship. Good, healthy communication. So able to talk about anything that feels important to you. Able to express yourself without fear of the consequences. So it's not a matter of, I shut down and I don't speak because I fear being belittled or judged or it being held against me later. Another thing is that you need to be able to resolve conflict early. So fighting when it's done, and because, fights do happen, needs to be fair and that need to be done respectfully as well. And another thing is that you should accept influence from your partner. It's a give and take situation. So, it's equality and giving and taking. So each person being influenced by the other person. So they're the things that we would expect to see in a healthy relationship. What if you don't have those things? What if you suspect that your relationship's not healthy? When should you get help? And the answer to that is always sooner better than later. You know, most people, even in a relationship that can be saved, leave it far, far too late to go and get assistance. So as early as possible. But here's a few keys, you know, I guess red flags that should point you that it's time to go and get some assistance from a counsellor, a therapist, or a psychologist. So if you're feeling unhappy more often than you're feeling happy in the relationship, it's time to go and get some help. If you have decided to leave the relationship but you feel unable to leave, then you definitely need some assistance. If you feel unsafe emotionally or physically, definitely go and get some assistance. If you have a history of staying in unhealthy relationships, then go and get some help. If you can't decide if you should stay and try to improve the relationship, or if you should leave, or if you should just stay and accept that you're unhappy, then go and get someone to help you work through that decision-making process. So that, because we can't think our way outside of it. Our mind is our own worst enemy. We do need somebody who sits outside of the complexities of that relationship to help us come to a conclusion. And if you think you're staying for the wrong reasons, so guilt, fear, or obligation, then again, go and get somebody to help you work through that so that you can come to a conclusion about what to do. A lot of the time, an unhealthy relationship can become very mentally draining and very physically unhealthy. A lot of the time, the emotional like you become emotionally unwell, and that then leads to being physically unwell. So, you know, don't leave it till you're actually having physical symptoms of stress and anxiety and, you know, or random physical symptoms that don't seem to be related to anything else. You know, the pain that sort of moves from place to place, you know, the feeling unwell in your stomach, those kinds of things. They're often pointers that, you know, that you've got some emotional issues that aren't being dealt with. Okay. So that's it for today, because this is just 10 minutes of truth. And I want to remind you again that if you'd prefer to listen to a podcast, you can do that. If you'd rather read it in an article, you can go over to LinkedIn. These videos go up to YouTube, so you can always come back and reference to them later. And of course, there's Instagram and Twitter and all of those other social media platforms as well. It was great chatting with you, and if you've got anything that you'd like me to cover in an upcoming week, please pop it in the comments below, or feel free to send me a private message on our Facebook page, or, you know, straight through DM. Anyway, have a wonderful week and happy Sunday.